الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل فأسرها يوسف في نفسه ولم يبدها لهم قال أنتم شر مكانا والله أعلم بما تصفون. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Amma ba'd, everybody. Once again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to try to talk to you guys about ayah number 77 of Surah Yusuf. I believe this to be a pretty heavy ayah. It's something I talked about. I remember I was visiting the city of Portland when I gave khutbah about this ayah many years ago, but inshallah I hope to dig deeper into it because a khutbah is a 20-minute opportunity to share something about the Quran. Anyway, what I'd like to talk to you about today, first let's translate the ayah and understand, at the surface level what is going on. And at the surface level it seems pretty straightforward, but as we dig deeper, inshallah, we'll see that there's some pretty profound things that are happening here that Allah has highlighted. So they have been, the cup has come out of Binyamin's bag, and now Allah said that He made this scheme happen for Yusuf, and that's what we talked about in the last time in the 76th ayah. Now they say, قالوا, meaning the brothers respond. They said, إن يسرق, if he has stolen or if he does steal, meaning if Binyamin does steal, فقد سرق أخ له من قبل, then he had a brother that used to steal a long time ago too. If he's stolen, then he had a brother that had a stealing habit too. أخ له من قبل. Notice, now they're not talking as if they're his brother. They're talking as if he had a brother, meaning even though we share the same father, him and his brother are from a different mom, so they're actual brothers, right? So he and a brother he used to have, or a brother he has, he stole a long time ago too. فَأَسَرَّهَا يُوسُفُ فِي نَفْسِهِ, then Yusuf made it a secret or kept it hidden inside of himself. That's literally what the ayah says. Then Yusuf kept it. We don't know what it is. He kept it hidden inside of himself. وَلَمْ يُبْدِهَا لَهُمْ, and he didn't expose it to them. Now what that it is again, we don't know. I'm just translating literally as the ayah speaks. قَالَ أَنْتُمْ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا, he said, meaning Yusuf said inside of himself. He said, أَنْتُمْ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا, you are worse off where you stand. You're in a worse position. I'm figuratively translating. You are in a far worse position. Wallahu a'lamu bima tasifun, and Allah knows better the kinds of descriptions you make, meaning the kinds of lies you come up with, the creative lies that you tell. This is the ayah we're dealing with today. The first thing here that I want to highlight is not a few moments ago, they said, وَمَا كُنَّا سَارِقِينَ. We've never been thieves. Remember that? They said, we didn't come here to make trouble, and we couldn't possibly be thieves. We could never be thieves, and we have never been thieves. وَمَا كُنَّا سَارِقِينَ. And they were speaking on behalf of everyone. Clearly not everyone. They were thinking of themselves as 10, but not 11. They did not include Binyamin in that claim. And as soon as Binyamin, he gets caught or accused and then proven to have stolen something, they're not standing up for him. They throw him under the bus immediately. And what's their justification? Well, إن يسرق, if he steals, فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. He had a brother who had a stealing habit. It's in their blood. It's a genetic problem. You can't help it. So let's pause here for a second to understand something. What's happened right now is a crime not against Yusuf. That's coming. But before it's a crime against Yusuf, it's also a crime against their own brother Binyamin, who they swore they will protect when they spoke to their dad. And now all of a sudden, their spite for Binyamin, but not just Binyamin, but the root of that spite, that he and his brother are special to dad because they come from a different mom. Right? أَخٌ لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ. That comes out and they get bunched together with a filthy lie that if he's stolen, what a surprise. Well, his blood brother, his full brother, we're just his half brothers. But his full brother, he stole too a long time ago. And by the way, who's that full brother? That's Yusuf, who's sitting in front of them as the prime minister. So they don't even know. They're insulting Yusuf alayhi salam, calling him a thief to his face. They don't know that, but they've now said that. Now, this part highlights in specific in this story how family can be ruthless towards family. How family can actually make the worst accusations towards their own family. You can expect strangers to say terrible things about you, and you can defend yourself by saying, you don't know me. You don't know what it's like in my family. You don't know the inside. So the expectation is behind closed doors. Who knows the reality of something? Your family does. They know what you're really like at home. They know what time you go to sleep and when you wake up and what you eat and what you say. And, people are a different way at home and they're a different way outside, right? Because we all have a personal life, and that's something hidden from the world, and it's only exposed to our family. But when your own family, who has the confidence of people, because if they speak on your behalf, then people will take that more seriously because, well, if anybody would know what they're really like, it would be their own family. It would be your own blood. And when your own blood, your own family, your own household lies against you, slanders against you, then people will hear that and say, well, obviously they would know. That's their family. They know what they're really like. I know his family, even they called him a thief. If you hear that kind of rationale, I know someone in their family, they called him a thief too. That would be like 100% guarantee they're a thief, isn't it? In our minds, who would know better than family? So when you want to backbite someone or slander somebody, and then what's your evidence? I know somebody in their family. Really? Because families are always honest about other members in their family, right? There are no rivalries. There is no treachery within siblings or within parents, within spouses, within children, within, cousins, nephews, nieces, grandparents. There's never any such drama. What is Allah exposing to us? That family is not a guarantee about the truth of a matter. They're trying to present themselves as, no. What we said previously, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, that we're not thieves, still true, but actually it's not a surprise. We were hoping he wouldn't turn out like his brother, but I guess he did. You can't change the genetics, can you? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're both two apples from the same tree, I guess. They're both pretty much the same. There's another interesting thing that's been highlighted here in the Quran. So one, that there's a special kind of slander that happens from within family. Right? And it's much more poisonous and much more treacherous than a stranger doing slander, because a stranger slander can be dismissed. You don't know what they're really like. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But someone on the inside, when they slander, man, that's going to carry weight because you were behind those closed doors. So your statement's going to hold more weight. So they use that as a basis to throw him under the bus. The other thing that's really important here is another tendency that people have, and it's incredible that believers have this, even though Allah highlights this in the Quran, a great evil. And what is that? You're a horrible person because your uncle, I remember, he had the same habits as you. You're just like your father, you know that? You're just like your brother, you know that? You're just like your sister, you know that? Oh, it's on their side. Oh, you got this from that side of the family. Right? So sometimes when children have a bad habit, and the parents don't get along, or the parents are divorced or something, then one parent will say, this bad habit came from that side of the family. Or this this evil you have, that's them. Yeah, we're the good side. I wish you got some of our, in our culture, they say, hamare jarasim bhi kuch aa jate. Maybe, I wish only some of our germs came into you too. We only got their germs. That's their way of saying genetics back in the day, germs. Right? But the idea that your traits or your evil deeds are somehow inherited and passed down in a family trait. Your whole family's like that. It's in your blood. That's just you people. By extension, and if family can do that to family and say, this is in your blood, this is just how you are, this is your nature, you can't help it, your father was just like this, your brother was just like this, that's why you're just like this. This kind of judgment is completely absurd. And it actually goes back, in one sense, to Christian doctrine. Christian doctrine is all human beings are born into sin because our father was sinful. So we inherit sin, right? The idea that I didn't decide whether I'll be a good person or a bad person. That was given to me genetically. That was passed down to me. It's absurd. In our religion, you can have an idol worshiper who does the worst kind of shirk, and his son could be Ibrahim alayhi salam. Do you understand that? We talk about Ibrahim alayhi salam's children as prophets and prophets and prophets and prophets and prophets. What about his dad? Right? And nobody gets to say, you're just like your father. Nobody gets to say that. You see? You don't get to say, and you can be nothing like your father, like Nuh alayhi salam's son. You could have the flip. So your blood doesn't determine righteousness or evil. The side of the family you're from, or what ethnicity you're from. And by the way, when this evil exists, this kind of accusation occurs inside of a family, and it's attributed to bloodlines, or it's attributed to family names and traits like that, then by extension, it can be attributed to people from this village are all like that. And you grow the circle a little bit, people from that city, man, they're all kinds of messed up. Then by extension, people of that race, man, I know all you people, you're like this. Right? So when you want to attribute it, what we call, stereotyping and bigotry and even racism, those and certain kinds of attributes given to certain ethnicities and races and cultures, and said they're all like this, they're all like this, they're all like this. It starts here. There's actually, even inside of the family, people can actually just sweep everybody under the same and say you're all the same. You're all the same blood. You have your mother in you. You have your father in you. You have your brother in you, etc., etc. So this is an evil that's been highlighted by the Quran. Now, these two things aside, they say he used to have a brother that stole too. All you can say about the brother that you beat, that you kidnapped, that ironically you stole. You stole that brother from his father. You stole that brother from his family. And you threw him into a ditch. And all you can say about him is, he was a thief. He used to steal too. My God. That's all you know about him? And we learned before how Yaqub alayhi salam would talk to Yusuf alayhi salam and say, Allah has chosen you, will teach you interpretation of speech, complete his favor upon you, which is telling us that Yusuf alayhi salam had highly righteous qualities. In tafsir literature, we find that there are different narrations that talk about why this was said. Why did they say that his brother stole too? And there are different kinds of explanations. One explanation is something I mentioned to you in passing in a previous lecture. I don't remember which ayah we were talking about. But there is a narration found. There is no authenticity to this, but it's found in our literature. So these things are circulated. The way they are circulated is sometimes Sahaba, they're not getting this necessarily from the Prophet ﷺ, but the Sahaba are exposed to Jews, and they're exposed to Christians, and they're also exposed to Syriac traditions of the same story. So the Syriac tradition there's a history of Joseph in the Syriac tradition, which is divergent. It's different from the Christian or the biblical tradition or the Jewish tradition. So they have their own strands. Like the story takes on different variations, right? Different versions. And the Sahaba in that time and the Tabi'een are exposed to many different versions. Of course, they consider the Quran to be the ultimate truth. But when they see to perhaps fill in the gaps, they say maybe something I heard from that version may fit here, right? So they're looking at what might fit and what might not fit, and they accept and reject like that, right? So one of the explanations that fit for them, one narration that circulated among them, is that his mother, which the Bible calls Rachel, meaning Yusuf's mother, her father used to worship idols. And she told Yusuf to go steal the idols from him, so he wouldn't be able to worship the idols anymore. And then he got caught, and then he got called a thief. In the biblical account, also in the Syriac account, by the way, and this is found in Muslim tradition, but in the Syriac tradition, the mother herself stole idols. So he was called the son of a thief. Benjamin was called the son of a thief, meaning the mom stole.
People on Facebook are saying that the video stopped.
The video stopped?
Like
it's off? Okay. Okay, can you check on Facebook? Let me pause for a minute, guys. Sorry. A lot of people are saying that?
Yeah,
Okay. We could be started, inshallah, if that's the case. Huh?
doing just fine.
Huh?
It's only Facebook people are saying.
Okay. Maybe we can take the Facebook version and put it back on YouTube, or YouTube version, put it back on Facebook or something.
It's saying error loading.
Error loading? Okay.
It just hasn't closed.
Okay. So you know what? We can, what do we do? Should we start over?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start over. You can end it and we can start over, inshallah.